Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial from ADSR and Sylenth1.com. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel and you want to stay up to date with everything we're putting out, you can do that at youtube.com/ADSRtuts. That was a demo of the trap lead we'll be making in Sylenth today. So I have a new instance of Sylenth pulled up, and let me just make sure it's zeroed out. So let's jump right into it. So turn the polyphony down to 1. And in part A, you're going to pitch your oscillator octave up to +1 for both of them. And then we're going to select the pulse wave for both of these, A1 and A2 oscillators. And in the detune, you're going to detune that to about 2.90. Turn the voices up to 8 for both of them so they get really thick. And in oscillator A2, we are going to turn the volume down a little, just a pinch. Turn the phase up to about 350 degrees because we're using the same waveform types. So why I want to do that is to introduce a little bit of variance to those waves. So about 350 should work. Turn the detune up to about 0.7. Now let's go on to part B. In part B, we're going to select the Q pulse wave. In oscillator B1, we're going to pitch this up to +1. We're going to pitch the octave of oscillator B2 up, and we're going to just for now select the saw waveform, and we'll turn the voices up to 8 for both of them. Turn the volume of oscillator B1 down to about 6.5 to just around 7 should work. Turn the detune and the phase up, so the detune to about 3.4. And the phase to about 225 degrees. And in oscillator B2, we're going to turn the volume down to about 8 actually, 8.6. Turn the phase up just a hair and detune this to just under 5. About 4.5 should work. And now we're going to turn the decay up on part B. And we're going to turn the release up all the way too. And I'm going to turn the release up to about 7.30. Let's turn that down actually for now. And we'll come back to it as we finish the sound. And in part A, you're going to turn the decay up to about 6.7. And you're going to keep the release all the way down. And the sustain, turn it down to about 6. And that is the oscillators and the amp envelope setup for both of them. Now let's go to the filter control. So in filter A, your input select should be B, and we're going to select a low pass filter. And the cutoff should be set to around 7.7 hertz. Turn the resonance up just a little, just under 1 would work. Turn the drive to about 4.4 so we get some more harmonics in the sound. And you can barely hear the oscillator A1 and A2 right now for part A, and that will come back in more once we do some filter controls, some modulation envelopes, and the distortion. So then make sure that you keep the 12 to -24, make sure it's kept on 24 dB. And let's go to part B. In part B, we're going to make sure the input select is on B. We're going to select low pass again. Turn the cutoff filter to just about 99. Just turn it down a hair. Turn the drive up to just under 1. And now let's go on to our filter control. And what we want to do for this is we want to turn the filter cutoff down to about 25. and we're going to turn the resonance down, up, sorry, to about 3.3. Select the warm drive, and then key track it to 2.81. Okay, and now let's set up some of the effects. So we're going to activate the distortion module. You're going to select the fold back, and you're going to keep the dry wet down just under halfway, the amount, and then the dry wet just to above halfway. And then we're also going to activate the coarse, help thicken up the sound. So the delay time for the delay should be 8.80 milliseconds, which it is by default. You can keep the rate at 0.61. You can keep the depth at 40, which should be the default value. Make sure you have dual mode selected. And on the feedback, we're just going to have that just a hair above 1 at 0.48. And the width and the dry and wet you can keep where it is. So you can hear that it just makes it a little bit wider. And now let's go to our EQ. And in the EQ, keep it on one pole. Turn the bass down all the way. And the bass frequency. Jack up the treble to about 12.57. And then the treble frequency to about 4,206. And now let's get some delay so the sound has some bounce. All right, so for the delay left, what we're going to do is we're going to pull that out. And we're going to turn the delay right time to about 0.41. I'm going to turn the low cut and the high cut up a little. Turn the dry wet down. Turn the width up. And now let's add some reverb here. And in the reverb, we're going to turn the size to about 4.26. Turn the pre-delay to about 17 milliseconds. So it's a pretty short pre-delay. You can keep the width and the damp where it's at, and then you can dry wet it to your taste. And that's it for the effects. So now let's go down to our modulation envelope. And what we'll do is in this mod envelope 1, we'll select cutoff A and B. And then drag this knob up to about 3.05. And turn this decay knob up to about 4.8. So now the sound's starting to shape up. Turn the sustain on this mod envelope up to about 1.5. And now in the mod envelope 2, we are going to select cutoff AB once again in this first box, and then turn that knob up to 10 to really drive this sound. And then we're going to actually put the pitch A and B in the second available slot. And you're going to drag that all the way up to 10 as well. And now take the decay up to just 0.23. It's important that you don't do this too much, or the pitch will be too prominent of an effect. That's what's adding that kind of snap to it. You can keep the sustain, the release, and the attack where they are. And that's it for the modulation envelope. So now let's go back to this cutoff knob. So your part A, now that you have these modulation envelopes set up, should kind of sound like just a plucky sound. And then part B, that should be where that saw wave's coming through to give it the sound its body. So I'm going to go back to my distortion module. And the last thing we have to do is jack up the portamento to about 7.8, and the sound is pretty much done. And you can play with the different distortion types. And that is the sound, guys. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't headed over to sylenthtutorials.com, check it out. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.